Ay, 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 ay.
Welcome back everyone to From the Deck, and today we have our Banlist prediction video, of course, yes. Why? Because this is the perfect week to do a Banlist prediction video, just so we are clear of what I am expecting to be banned for this new format, and what do I expect to be somewhat good decks around this new format. Also, I'm going to release the next episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! For Dummies in the Evolution of Scrubs. Be sure to follow them out in the link in the description, so you can check out how the story continues, or how to Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically. But for now, let's just concentrate in our ban list predictions and on your wish list and put them one together. And we're going to start with the ban section. Now, I usually hear ban BFD and etc. But I actually just want to ban one card, and that is Cyber Angel Benten. Now, the reason for this is that most of the cards that are toxic to the format are endboard, are cards that you usually just face when the combo is pulled off well. But when the combo isn't pulled off well, then you don't see the card, or you see it until turn 3 when you have a more established board. But Benten is not an endboard piece, it's an searcher, an engine. It's just something that DriedTRON players play to search for more resources. Basically, they just tribute Benten like 777 times, and as such, I think is the real problem card in DriedTRON. I don't think it's going to be banned, of course, because DriedTRON is very new. But if the board was perfect, banning Benten would be the best case scenario for this situation, and that would regulate DriedTRON resources, but still make DriedTRON somewhat good. Well, now that we took out the ban section, we're going to go with the limit, and we're going to open up with the Volkswagen Final Dragon. This guy, a lot of people want it banned. I don't think it should deserve a ban. I think a limit is just fine, because BFD is actually a good card. Most of the decks can play through it, most of the decks can't. It just has to be somewhat natural and concentrating. But the problem is, or the problem comes, when it comes in multiples. Dealing with one very funny dragon, it's kinda okay for some decks, but dealing with two or more, it just crushes everyone. So if we just limit the true king of all calamities, I think everyone could play it happily. We have our virtual board partners just playing that fine, and it's nothing outside of the board. They can play other level 9 synchros or another rank 9 boss monster if they want to, like your commander. Next is hit into Dogmatica. I think this one is a little bit not controversial, but it's a little bit obvious. Entity Entes. I think this one deserves a limit, just because well, anyone who plays Dogmatica Punishment plays at least 2 Entes, because they activated multiple times in a duel, and as such, limiting Entes will force them to just play another target for punishment, or to play Pot of Avarice instead of just sending Entes multiple times. So limiting Entes is just fine. Dogmatica is still playable, and I think that checks out some of the decks. Next up is obviously Miscellaneousaurus. Miscellaneousaurus should be limited, of course. It was limited before, I don't know why it's at 3 right now. Coming it back to 1 is kind of okay. It doesn't kill Dino, it makes it only harder to establish the basic combo that's going first. Harp Horror is another card that I want to talk about. Orcus is a good deck, not gonna lie, but bringing Harp Horror to 1 doesn't do anything to the deck. It's basically the same thing. The real problem was back in 2019 there were no other combo decks at the time that were just as strong, and also that it makes synergy with a lot of stuff. So just limiting Harp Horror will make basically no difference. It will give it access to everyone to play Orcus, but you have to draw something like Foolish Burial or mill it with Burning Abyss if you want to actually play Orcus, or I don't know, it's somewhat hard to put this card in the graveyard if you are not using Orcus cards. So limiting horror would be just fine. Now, the two Cyber monsters we want to talk about here is Mirage Talio and Firewall Dragon. The first one, Mirage Talio, sorry, doesn't do anything in Salamangreat. Salamangreat, I think, is dying in representation because everyone is playing the virtual world and DriedTRONs and etc. And as such, bringing back Mirage Talio even to 3 doesn't make a difference that much. Firewall Dragon is pretty obvious, I just want to point it out. We're going to have like a couple of weeks with Firewall Dragon pre-rata limited, so just keep that in mind. And finally, the two cards that I don't think it's going to come back, but it's a wish. Change of Heart to 1 is obviously another way to disrupt your opponent or to play through their board. And Max C is Max C. Limiting it would make no difference in the format. If you draw it, that's good. If you don't draw it, that's bad. Now for the semi-limited section, I actually don't want to make any changes per se, because I don't think semi-limiting anything at this point works. And finally, no longer on the list comes True King's Return. It came back at 2 last list, it will probably come back at 3 this list. But that's just my opinion. Leave in the comments what do you want to see limited, banned, semi-limited, no longer on the list, etc. And what do you want to see in a new format. In my case, I want to see somewhat combo decks to come back into the game instead of these heavy control decks. You have seen that Subterror Guru won this Sunday, the Invitational. So yeah. And as you can see, I didn't touch Bird and Akondo Dragoon. I think that's because combo decks don't actually manage that well. If they manage that well during this new format, then I will talk about Bird and Dragoon and all that other combo stuff. That is obviously a problem, but it hasn't come up because the format is controlled. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.